Okay, so after publishing my first book, so many people have come to me and asked how I did it, what I did, how to get started, or they're sharing with me their writer's block, or they have all these ideas, but they don't know how to get started, right? After I send the girls off in the morning, I come home. I already did this part, but I empty the sink and fill up the dishwasher. Then I go upstairs and do laundry. I feed my son breakfast because he usually won't eat when they want to eat. So I make sure I do that. And then after laundry's done, I come down and I use my little cleaning schedule here to keep myself on task, to make sure I'm doing the things that I need to do. I got this from Not the Worst Cleaner. I know that she has an Instagram and a TikTok because that's how I found her. I'm not sure if she has a YouTube. I'll have to look it up, but if she does, I'll link this down below so you can see her. She's awesome. She does this weekly one, and then she does a 8-week like cleanup, like so you can have deep cleans in the mix. And honestly, if I don't follow a list like this, like I won't get anything done. I love her everyday list. So can't really make my bed right now because my husband sleeps later than I do. He works at night, but the girls' beds are all set. I haven't done the vacuum yet, but I have done the laundry, so I can go ahead and check that one off. And I do say make beds because once he wakes up, he'll throw the blanket on and stuff. So all I need to do now for my everyday chores is a quick vacuum. I will do my quick vacuum at the later end of the day because after everyone's eaten for the night, that's when I like to do my quick vacuum because there's no point to vacuum 16 times a day. Like no one has time for that. So after I've caught up on this, well, I look at my Monday schedule. I do have quite a bit to do there. So I will either get a couple of chores done right now, or I also like to go on my laptop and check in for the day. So I actually think I'm going to do that and then get to these chores while he takes a nap.
I'll help you through the fight. Let's make footprints in the sand. Let's make miracles. Come hold my hand. Let's find something new. Me and you.
So I just got out of yoga and I haven't been for a little while. So it was killer. It was awesome. I feel so much better. It was much needed. And now I'm here at Five Guys meeting my best friend for lunch. And then I got to do some writing. So that's what we'll be doing next. Okay, so after publishing my first book, so many people have come to me and asked how I did it, what I did, how to get started, or they're sharing with me their writer's block, or they have all these ideas, but they don't know how to get started, right? And so now I'm kind of in a position to say, okay, I've done my first book, I printed it.
Mama, he's talking to you.
I know. And I already know now, looking at my book, as much as I'm so excited and so proud of myself, I open it now and I'm like, oh man, you should have done this. You should have done that. We could do this better. We could do that better. Yeah.
My tongue blue.
Let's see. Oh my goodness, your tongue is blue. And so now I want to show you what I would do if I was first starting out and how you can format your pages and get started today and really stop giving yourself the excuse of, well, I don't know how to format. I don't know how to start. Where do I go? Listen, just write. But in order to write, you want that setup, right? I feel like you don't really know, do I have a title page? Do I put a copyright somewhere? Where does my dedication go? Do I have a table of contents? Like all these questions start swarming your head. So all these things start swarming your head. And I feel like if I had started this way to begin with, I would have been a lot better off. So let me show you how you should start writing your book. Okay, so here's where your title goes on the top left over here. I titled it Your First Few Pages. So when you come into your blank document, what I like to do is make your first page your title page. This will be the first page that people see when they open your book. So your book title, nice and big. I used font 79 Times New Roman. You can obviously change that to be whatever you want it to be, but that's what I chose for this, okay? But when you first start in your document, you want to make sure that you are setting up your page. So File, go to Page Setup, and make sure you're on B5, the 6x9, if that's the book size that you're choosing. Now, for me, that is a standard book size, so that is what I chose for my book size, and that's where I'm going. You can definitely make it smaller or bigger depending on what you want to do. And I'm going to hit OK. So that's like the first thing I would do before I did anything is make sure my page setup is correct. Then I go ahead and make my book title, I center it. Then my next page would be my book title again, a little smaller, because then I want to put my subtitle underneath. So it depends on what type of book you're doing. If you're doing a novel, you may not have necessarily a subtitle. You definitely could, but it just really depends. I would put your subtitle down here if that's what you're doing. If not, you can just leave this area blank and go right down to your author name. And then typically people like to put the publisher or things like that. Now here, if you are using a publishing company, this is usually where their information goes. But if you are a self-publisher, then I'm just putting here self-published and here's my year, whatever year that's going to be. Your next page is going to be your disclaimer. So you can put your author name here to say this book is copyrighted by author name, which is you. Once you get your ISBN, you can put your ISBN here if you want to. Again, it's totally optional. But here's just your little disclaimer to say, you know, no one could copy your book. You can say who you did your cover design, your editing, and if you want them to visit on a website that you have, that's also a great option here. Again, if you send this to a publishing company, they may have a little bit more on this page. What I did is I looked at a lot of different books that I knew from people who published their own books, and I kind of saw what they did, and I modified it to the things that I would choose to do, and so that's what I'm going off of here. So again, it's definitely optional what you put here, and if you want to add anything or take anything away, but this is what I'm going to do for my second book. And page 3 here, I'm going to leave this one ready for the dedication. So I'm not going to keep this here. I'm not going to have the word dedication necessarily, but I might say like to, you know, John Smith, blah, 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 or whatever. I'm just leaving the word dedication here to, you know, as a placeholder for this page so I know I have it ready. The next thing I'm going to want to do is come down to the table of contents and get that set up and ready. I clearly don't know if I'm going to have 10 chapters or 16 chapters or 5 chapters or whatever. I just did 10 to be even and to just kind of give a little time frame here. You can always modify it, take the chapters away or add more if you need to. It just gives you a little starting point so you can come back and you at least have the page already ready and designated to come back to, okay? And the next page is your introduction. So this is where the spot is where you can introduce the topic of your book, right? It can be as long as you want. You should give the reader a good idea about what your book is about. All that kind of stuff should be in here in the introduction. Again, if you choose to do one, not all books have an introduction, so it's just an option for you. Then next page, so we're already 5 pages in now, but look at your book is coming together, right? It's starting to look real here, okay? Sometimes this is all a writer needs to get started when they can start seeing it visually, like, wow, I have a real book here. And you can even keep all of this blank the way I have it and then just go back in and change things as you know, all right, I'm not really sure what the title of my book is, and then you come in later and you're like, all right, I have a title, right? Or you just try out some titles and put something there for now, and then you can always come back and change it. After the introduction, you're going to want to start chapter 1, right? Here's your chapter of your book. Here's you get started. So here's the first 6 pages of what you can do to get your book started to really give you a jumping off point of how to get this all together and get you excited. The thing I want to mention when you come in here and you start your chapters, you're going to want to make your chapters headings. So whether you start this way or you come back and do it like I'm going to show you, what I'm going to do is highlight this. And I come up here, see how it says heading 1? Now you'll start out with it saying normal text, and all you have to do is scroll down and select heading 1, and it will make this little outline over here on the left-hand side of your screen. So now when I click introduction, it brings me there. When I click chapter 1, it brings me there, and so on and so forth, okay? Because my introduction also is a heading, okay? So that way, that gives you this little outline over here. So when you are going through your book, like I gave a recommendation to someone the other day, hey, she's like, I don't know how to organize my book. I have so many ideas. I don't know what to do. I'm like, girl, just start writing, because she can come in now, make a heading and be like, hey, this is going to be called The Accident, right? Then her next chapter might be called Canopy Lake Park, or her next chapter might be called The Birth of Addison. Whatever it is she wants to title each story that she's writing, she can go in and title them. When she wants to go in and move something, she can just go and click on that chapter and then, highlight it all and then cut and paste and move it around her document if she wants to do it that way. But it really narrows things down. Even if you just used one document as an outline and then you copy and paste it to another document, right? I know that seems like a little bit maybe unorganized at first, but I can go into further detail if anyone's interested. Just comment down below and say, how do I work between two documents? And I can definitely show you exactly what I mean when I say that. But I just feel like this is a really good jumping off point to get your first 6 pages. And it really starts getting you in the right flow of being like, oh, I got this. Like, look at my book's already started. I'm good to go, right? You also don't have to start your page numbers all the way from the beginning because obviously they're not, like, your book title is not your first page, right? You can fix that after. But what I really want to show you is your first 6 pages to really get you in a jumping off point so you're starting to feel how real the book is instead of making it, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to organize this. Like, this is how you can start, okay? And by having it in the page setup, you're really seeing what your book can look like live. So I hope this is helpful.
I can see. It turned green. Now it turned blue.
Yeah, I don't know if it will turn green.
Blue.